What's up everyone, Stella Chung here. Have you been fiending for some more preem Cyberpunk content? Well, look no further because I have Gabe Amatangelo, Game Director, Paolo Sasco, Quest Director here with me today to answer all of our questions about Cyberpunk 2077's upcoming DLC, Phantom Liberty. Welcome to IGN Summer of Gaming.
Thank you.
Hello, great to be here actually.
Yeah, I saw you guys checking out our toys and everything. You were surrounded by fellow nerds.
Cool collection, yes.
We're definitely nerds.
We'll get you a V statue for the background.
Okay, so I'm just gonna dive right in. So this is obviously a spy thriller. So are we gonna get any noir-esque sequences?
Of course, it's a cyberpunk spy thriller, right? So noir is definitely at the heart. And we've got, within the spy portion of it, you're gonna have some of the tropes, if you will, that you get to emerge in. And we're gonna go without spoilers here.
Okay.
But things that you could imagine, you get to kind of role play in this, and it's gonna be fun.
And maybe we can touch some inspirations we had, because like quite early when we were discussing about like Phantom Liberty, there was an idea of like, you know, going with that spy thriller vibe. And I remember like one of us, I don't know who that was thrown the Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy movie as an inspiration. Then the Bridge of Spies came in, and then also Bond movies, and you know, like, and even like Ocean's 11. So like actually
a dab of Bourne Identity.
A dab of Bourne, yeah. So like actually the Phantom Liberty takes you to that trip from like really, you know, dense atmosphere that you have in those spy thriller movies to actual movies when you feel like a Bond at some moments, and really heavy action sequences. So all of that is there.
So did you include like a special Bond-esque weapon then?
Yes, but I'm trying to skirt around. I mean, there's everything you can imagine. Okay. Like, let's put it that way. And we were really excited about this because it allowed us to put V in a situation with kind of a new kind of category of characters, if you will, from the president to, of course, sleeper agents to other mysterious characters. And then we have Kurt Hansen, who's like a sort of a militia guy that's kind of taken over Dogtown. All the intrigue there. But as you get into the narrative and as you explore it, you also see that they're all human in a way. And that was part of the fun of saying this new kind of category of characters, but still that rich complexity of the characters.
Awesome. Okay, so you touched on Dogtown, so I'm very curious about this new area. What can you tell us about this new area, Dogtown, and how many new events or gigs we can find there?
Oh, there's a bunch. So yeah, so Kurt Hansen sort of defected from Noosa after the war. And he sees the opportunity to control this section adjacent to Night City, now called Dogtown. One of his exploits is weapons dealing. So there's going to be some weapons trading and dealing and stuff like that happen there. But that's not the sort of main story. It's just kind of there's this layer of activity and agency in the world that happens with or without V. And so it feels very alive and you can interact and intersect it.
Yeah, precisely. We end up like with Gabe actually going over the open world really like and trying to think like how to revitalize it in a way, you know, what we could actually add, you know, to make it really feel alive, you know, and there's plenty actually that goes around, you know, V and happens around you in Dogtown, but also in the Night City.
Awesome. So what sort of area is the Pacifica Combat Zone and how does it differ from Night City?
I mean, it was the site of conflict, the Unification War, and you see some of the kind of after effects of it there. But again, it got seized control by this sort of military leader, and it feels very oppressive. It's very different. Barghest, which is the faction that's under Hansen, they'll knock you around if you get out of line, and so you've got to be on edge a little bit. So it has a very different atmosphere, and we're excited about players exploring it.
Yeah, like when designing Dogtown, we were looking for ways, you know, how to make it like fit the game, you know, because like you can traverse from Dogtown to Night City without any loading screens. It's just a part of the game, right? So we wanted to make it feel like native to the game, you know, to the Night City itself. But then there was this research, as Gabe said, for this unique vibe, you know, what we can actually do to make it feel different. And I think we found it.
You'll see like guard towers, spotlights, very armored gates getting in and out, that kind of stuff, people outside. So yeah, it's a different vibe.
Oh, okay. I'm interested to check it out. So we did touch on weapons, and I know you don't want to spoil much, but so I hear there's a new relic system that does power up some of your gear.
Yes. So early on, when you meet Songbird, as seen in the trailer, She's a very powerful net runner, and she's able to sort of work through your relic to allow you to empower some of your cyberware, as well as find exploits in other people's cyberware. So we offer some new ways to play the game.
Ooh, okay, that sounds very fun.
Should we give examples?
Yes,
Yeah,
please give us
let's go
examples.
into examples.
Give examples?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
So so we revitalized a lot of the cyberware system. You now can get in a situation where you can sort of just be armor clad with cyberware, so to speak, and just barrel through people, knock them out of the way, pick them up, throw them against trucks and cars and stuff like that, splat, knock people across the room.
You shoot the barrage of rockets, right, from your rocket launcher, because before you had like one, but right now when you upgraded, you have like multiple ones. So it feels great. Like you are just actually really feeling like this, cybergeist, human being, running around Night City, being this merc, trying to survive there.
And our inspiration was basically saying, when you think about the cyberpunk genre and you think about cyberware, what are some of the fantasies of how you want to play? And so we really leaned into it with giving characters, or players rather, a bunch of new actions, a bunch of new ways they can build their character to fulfill these fantasies.
That's actually, I cannot remember the name of him right now, but I believe one of the characters from the Cyberpunk anime also had that ability. So is that a callback, and are we going to see other abilities from the show in...
Oh, is
You're
this
talking
where I
about
get-
Mine. Yeah, Mine had his own crew, and he had this ability of like
Yes.
shooting multiple. So yeah, in a way, it is a clear reference. Maybe you can talk about Edgener perk.
No, you spoiled it. So we've got, like I said, we redid the cyberware system, and so now there's a capacity meter, and the more cyberware you slot, the farther you push the edge, and you can run over the edge, and then there's a bit of a risk versus reward. See, I wanted to do that corny punchline joke, and it kind of spoiled it for me.
ruined it.
Yes. But yes, so there is it is obviously inspired. I mean, it's in the lore, it's baked into the lore, but the response obviously was huge to it, and we definitely wanted to put it into the game.
Oh, wow. That's going to be really hard to juggle, because you added in so many new things that people are going to want to use, but now you're going to be like, hey, can't use all of that. So that's going to be very hard to balance, but I'm very glad for that challenge.
So yeah, and just find the way you want to play. Another way is you can jump in the air, dash in the air, block bullets with your katana blade. We've got vehicle combat as well, where you can be on your Akira-style bike and slash some tires with your katana blade, screech, pull out your SMG, shoot cars down. So a lot
Or
of
vehicles with the rockets, actually.
Vehicles with
those
rockets, yeah.
Those are actually pretty, because you can have both like gunslinging guns and rockets in some of the vehicles that you can obtain in the game, either as a quest reward or just, buy it as a player in the game. So.
Okay. Is that going to be something that's found everywhere in the city, or just in the new portion?
So you'll be able to access like all the, vehicle combat, all this stuff, but you do get introduced to, or you get a deeper relationship with the fixer in Dogtown that then enables things like getting rockets on your vehicle and enhancing them a little bit more. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Fixer and other characters that we might interact with, we definitely need to talk about Solomon Reed, who is played by Idris Elba, who is a key character in this DLC. So can you tell us a little bit more about him and his relationship with other key characters in this DLC?
Yeah, so he is, a sleeper agent, sleeper spy. And through the story, I'm going to skirt around spoilers here, right? But through the story, we activate him, and he has, he's just a badass. And I want to say more, but I don't want to spoil stuff. I don't know, what else should I say without spoiling?
I guess we can mention that, he's of course entangled with some things, connected to his past, and throughout the story you're going to discover some of those things, and you will have to make some, I would say, key, important, difficult choices that will lead you to slightly different outcomes throughout that story that will going to impact him and other characters,
and
around him.
You play alongside him quite a bit, so
Yes.
that's another very important point.
And exactly, and maybe we can mention that he's actually playing like one of the most important roles in the whole expansion, outside of just, of course, V and Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand's back as well. He has his own story arc, but he is like going back to Idris Elba. He's an important character in that story, because like some people ask, how much is there of him? Is he gonna be gone after a few scenes? That's not the case. We really like, he is the main character in that story, really important person, and throughout all your interactions, you will craft that relationship.
Ooh, okay. So obviously this brings in a big chunk of another part of Cyberpunk's story. And so How does this affect the ending that we got in Cyberpunk? And will there be additional multiple endings with this one DLC?
We were actually talking about this beforehand. So, yes, as the trailer shows, Songbird brings you in, and with the promise of being able to handle your issue with the relic. So it will affect outcomes in the base game, as well as the story. Phantom Liberty within itself has multiple different variations of endings and things like that. And that's as far as we'll go. And that's probably farther than you wanted me to go.
Because this is a spy thriller, like we are very conscious that the story is incredibly important here, and spoiling any of that, it will just ruin the experience for a lot of people. So that's why we're very cautious of Gabe to say anything more.
Okay, no, that's fair. So then my final question to you would be, since you want people to enjoy this content, about how many new hours of content do you think people can expect from Phantom Liberty?
Oh, wow, the question, right?
Favorite question.
Yes, it's big. There's a lot of stuff, and I'm not gonna say like a number, but it's a big expansion.
It's also just because like I'm
people
not
play different ways.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure actually what that number would be, to be honest. Like, because we have done multiple different tests. If you play as a player with a stealth play style, it's significantly longer than when you go just guns blazing, or even we play melee, then you land somewhere in between. That's one difficulty. Another difficulty is like new activities that we introduced, the airdrops or courier, for instance, that is even in a base game, as Gabe mentioned. Their nature is they are infinite. So like in a way as a player, you can keep going, and it's like, how are we supposed to exactly say, how much there is? Because like part of it is your choice how you want to play. So that is a difficulty. One thing I guess we can say is that it's a large expansion. Not only just because we have added a pretty substantial amount of terrain, and interiors to explore, but also just because of how many gameplay systems we have reworked. And all of that just brings a lot of new freshness, but also new ways to play the game.
Sounds like I have my work cut out for me, so I gotta finish all my games first and then play this. But thank you so much for all of your insight into this and giving us a few scoops that we definitely shouldn't have gotten, but we did. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, for more Cyberpunk 2077 news, be sure to stay right here on IGN for all of the latest updates. And don't forget to keep tuned for more Summer of Gaming content this month for all of your gaming news.